Well, I mean, the PvE may be stronger. It's difficult to tell with Waltz being nerfed, the rushing wind change, losing the minus 40 DP debuff for 30. Um, but a lot of the skills were buffed in some of the damage. And of course, Tremble had its cooldown lowered, which is a nice buff, as it's a pretty powerful skill. I just realized Tempest has 4 hits. That's pretty rare in modern BDO. So yeah, we're gonna test the PvE. I haven't done any PvE because I don't play the global lab. When it gets changes, because I just think it's pointless to play global lab to test anything because the gear is so fucked. So yeah, so we're gonna do this. I'll do deep sea. I mean, the changes she got were things that she just didn't really need. So it's like a lack of understanding, really, from the development team, which isn't really shocking, of what the class actually does need. I mean, buff damage in PvE on some of the skills, that's nice. Lower cooldown on Tremble is nice. Strictly talking about PvE, larger AoEs would have been nicer. The cooldown reduction is probably the best thing we got for that regard. Although more damage is always good, and it should make Black Shrine easier. But yeah, we're going to see what this is like, because I'm going to have to get used to the fact that when I start grinding here in a second, it's going to be very different. Oh, that's part of the... oh, wait, what? Oh, I thought it was a 1 hour. Oh, I didn't even read that scroll at all. We'll use this one then, or this one rather. Just to make sure we have enough. I think we do, but... pets. Oh, I'm gonna have to get used to that. That's so weird, man. I wonder if you can, okay, that feels really weird. I really don't like this rushing wind change. Removing it, I mean, yeah, you can use it on cooldown, but like removing all the cancels into rushing wind feels super weird. Which maybe we'll get used to that, but it just look, I mean, like if they made this change, I think if they'd made this change, but made Rushing Wind be able to yeet the character super far, like it's a true mobility skill, like for modern BDO standards, you probably feel a little bit better about it. I mean, I don't know how the damage is if I just spam it. Not very good. But, like, what do you really gain when you can just spam it, other than, like, early game PvE novelty? I mean, if changing it to be spammable was like an attempt to make the class less APM heavy, it doesn't do that either, because, well, you know, you still need this, you know. The damage isn't very high, so you're not going to spam it. So it's a totally random change. Well, the class feels really awkward. Like I said, this is the first time I've really played it because I don't play the Global Lab. So opinions subject to change with more experience, but again, it would make sense in PvE, the Rushing Wind change, if Rushing Wind was now like a giga mobility skill, because it just that would just make sense, right? Like, okay, we took away a lot of cancels for it, but you can now use it a lot, and it's gonna be like really good for mobility. All they did was slightly boost, I think, the movement of Breezy Blade. So yeah, really weird. It feels weird and clunky. We lost so many PvP slows. Yeah, I was just saying that exact thing, Real. I think it's like one of my favorite things to do was actually using what limited mobility Rushing Wind had was to animation cancel from Guardian Wind, which was actually a cool animation canceling shit that they did a while ago. You know, the ability to use it after Waltz as well, although you have to be careful because Waltz lost its super armor fast as a core. Yeah, it's weird, man. I think one of my fundamental issues is when they do things that don't seem to have been like crowdsourced from like people who are in the know. Like the Node War changes, like who asked for that, right? Like, and they were uniformly a disaster that they've had to try and pedal back on, right? Nobody asked for those those changes to Node Wars, and yet they did them. It was all the feedback I'd ever heard about Node Wars. Admittedly, I didn't hear Korean feedback. Was totally separate things to what they ended up doing to Node Wars, and it was a disaster what they did to Node Wars, you know. And these Ranger changes, again, like if you'd have talked to me personally about Ranger, and many other people I think that still do play Ranger in either PvE or PvP, the stuff that they've come up with would, I mean, aside from like lowering the cooldown of Nature's Tremble, which is fine, none of it would have been what I wouldn't have even asked for more damage. I don't think. You know, I think cooldown changes was one thing for sure. I would have brought up, but maybe I would have just said, you know, a little bit wider AOE's on some of these skills. It wouldn't even impact PvP at all. You know, we're not going to run in and nuke 10 people. You know, just the class just isn't built to do any damage trading. Most of the damage is on forward guard anyway. You don't do that in a group fight. So a little bit more AoE would have really gone a long way, I think, to help the class. And yeah, some lower cooldowns could have helped a little bit, potentially lowering the APM slightly by enabling some kind of loop. You know, I'm all for having the class be complex to learn, but, you know, I don't really think we need a complex PvE class because all it is PvE. What the hell is that? Flame of Mystery. Why would you make something like that drop? You know what that makes me think I got? PA, come on. Flame of Mystery. I really should read the patch notes. I know. We'll just use Storage Made for right now. What's up, Bruce? I was doing silly moves after I logged in. Yeah, I mean, there's adjusting to the new norm, and there's like, this is kind of dumb, so. Oh, I didn't realize I even swapped. As for PvP, I just think it's a huge missed opportunity not to improve the mobility of the class. If they're gonna fuck around with skills anyway, give us something we actually want. I mean, the disparity between classes that basically never have to think about stamina and the fact that they still have incredible movement, and those of us that like either have incredible movement and huge stamina problems, like maybe an Awakening Lawn or like Awakening Ranger that can't move at all and has stamina problems anyway, you know, it makes no sense. But I still think that classes should all struggle with stamina when they use a lot of movement. So I would have taken a lot more mobility if we still had stamina problems. I would have accepted it. I mean, I think they need to hit some classes with stamina nerfs, but, you know. Roll, thank you so much for the resub. I appreciate that, man. How you doing? Oh, 70 months as well, Roll. That's huge. Nice 70. That's crazy, actually. Easy RBF money. Oh, you do like RBF, don't you? I forgot about the RBF change. I don't have gear for RBF anymore, I think. That's crazy, actually, that my gear has fallen off that hard. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so, like, I used to obviously only want characters to get nerfed and Ranger not to get buffed because I thought that, like, power creep was so bad, but I, like, began to realize that they were never going to nerf some classes. It just wasn't going to happen, so you got to ask for, like, actual modern changes to your class because the modern is the new norm. It's, you know, but one thing I do think that, like, in spite of me saying that, I actually think that, yes, I want mobility, even though I don't agree with mobility power creep. Mobility clearly is something that's not going away. But I do still think they should at least look at the stamina costs. Some classes that never have to think about stamina as a resource. You shouldn't have all that mobility and just move for free. Like, it's just... it's nonsense. Oops. So now I can 30 DP debuff for them. I mean, it really remains to be seen if the loss of 10 DP debuff is going to be, like, really bad. I guess given the change to tremble and the general modifier increases, we'll probably be okay without that 10 DP. Hey, Tommy. Did you read the above? BRB. The Winds of the Prairie out of pre-awakening had me messed up a few times. I mean, it's an okay change. I don't love it, but I guess I don't hate it. Like, it's just okay, right? Like, I didn't need that change. Does that make sense? Like, you could already very easily dash or use Waltz of Wind out of bow skills from the hotbar. So I didn't really need that change. You know, when I had cooldowns that were much more reliable for it. Is it more likely to mess you up than to help you, considering the similarity between... well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you use it from the hotbar, right? So actually, I guess the inputs don't change. You like the changes? How are the nerfs? Yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, you want to tell me about all your gear on your Shy? Oh, 872 DR. I thought evasion was like back in action. I read that as gear score and I was like, can that be right? I didn't even know you could get that high. That would have been incredible, I think, right? Like, what is that even? 400 and 400 something? Probably across the board. How's the Elven Rage and Flow change? I forgot about that. It's a good reason you brought that up. I haven't used Disillusion once because that change is so bad. I guess I should use it now. There you go. Yeah, that's bad. I actually forgot about that, and I was annoyed at that on the Global Lab. Because although I didn't do damage testing on the Global Lab, I obviously, like, logged in to look at it, but I totally forgot about that. Be even less if you bring it up on Rectal. Yes. The class feels awkward to play. It is a damage buff in PvE overall because of obviously changes that they've made. But those changes come at a steep cost. So it really depends on what you're really focused on. I think the PvE just will be better because, well, they buffed raw damage and they buffed Nature's Tremble's cooldown, or improved it to be lower. Buff sounds like an increase, but the rushing wind change really has annoyed me, and I actually forgot about the Elven Rage change until someone brought it up. Oops. Which I also don't like. Yeah, so they removed the stamina recovery on rushing wind. And for a class that was already down bad on stamina. I mean, again, that would have been acceptable if rushing wind had actually been turned into a real mobility skill, like a modern class mobility skill. Then you swallow the stamina problem because you actually get movement for being out of breath all the time. Whereas instead you don't get any bonus movement. Because in a real fight you're not going to go breezy blade, rushing wind, because you're going to leave gaps. And if you were unprotected and need to cover distance, you'd probably put your weapon away because it'd be way faster. So yeah. Anyway, but if they change that into a real mobility skill, you know, you're probably fine with it. Yeah, and I mean in PvE, like I said, I mean I think the Nature's Tremble change is nice, having a lower cooldown on that skill. I didn't really want the well, I mean, I'm not gonna say no to damage, but like I didn't think the class really needed damage. In terms of how it dealt the damage, but what it did need, I mean, it has lost -10 DR on its kit, right? But what it did need was some nicer AoE sizes, you know, just to make some grind spots a little bit more viable on the class. I mean, when you're grinding spots where you have to hit a lot of mobs, you miss a lot of mobs. So spots like this one, where unless you're killing these packs, you know, you're killing the Dark Seekers, right, which is the important bit. Oops. So Cyclops probably pretty good. Black Shrine will be good. But like, you know, there's no improvements if you need any kind of AoE, which makes the middle tier of grinding for Rangers still kind of sucky for newer Rangers. Although early game, I guess, maybe is improved. It depends on how nerfed Waltz of Wind is, because that's the other thing that obviously I haven't really given a mention, is Waltz of Wind got nerfed as well. Which isn't good for newer players, but maybe they can mix Waltz of Wind in with Breezy Blade and Rushing Wind spam. I don't know how effective that is compared to what we used to just be able to mostly Waltz of Wind. Hey, Owen. Are you at DSR for a reason? Well, last I checked, it was still a pretty good grind spot. Is it bad now? I thought it was still pretty good, but I guess I don't really play the game as much as I have done in the past, so I don't keep up with the hot new grind spots for all the kids, I guess. DSR is 3rd place. I mean, mostly I came here is because I have the most recent experience grinding here, so I thought, well, you need to compare it to something you're familiar with. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing, right? Like, I could go to a new spot and be like, oh, wow, this feels... I'm really powerful or weak or whatever. But, like, you know, it's difficult to know. Whereas here I can feel the difference. How is the Awakening PvP nerfs? Well, I haven't done any PvP. I know that RBF is open again, but I just don't have the gear for uncapped RBF. I never picked up those new accessories for a start. Not accessories, artifacts. I got pretty close to the first one, and then I sold them all. So I could click Oct, I think. I mean, you guys know what I'm like. Grinding is like, I'm allergic. But obviously there's no Solare, so unless I do practice Solare, I wouldn't really see. Well, I mean, the rushing wind change ruins so many things we would do with the kit. Have I done the new Orzeka boss? No. I mean, I was partway through. The Yara was helping me do the storyline to unlock the new furniture. I still kind of want to do that, actually. Maybe after this. As for, like, doing the new boss... Man, I've done like 2 bosses, and it was the first 2 dungeons. I haven't done the 3rd dungeon boss, let alone the 4th dungeon boss. Now you can get all of them as furniture? If you kill them? Oh. Even in normal. Oh, so I have to do normal. It's hard? Has anybody cleared it, or is it like not quite that hard, but like it's hard? You got a better odds doing Elvia. Why? If we weren't having a constant running conversation, Tommy, I would. During normal grinding where it's a bit slow, I would have done. But obviously we have a lot to talk about. Yeah, it's a banger, man. That's why it's in AoE Farming 1, my playlist. Hey, Kantaro. I mean, how is everybody here feeling? I mean, we have a variety of different people. Ranger mains, obviously I'm more interested how you're feeling, because I have found it difficult recently with the game. I felt really deflated, I think. And these changes were so not what I would have known anybody to ever suggest for Awakening Ranger. It once again just is like another thing that they just do because they feel like it. Tag run nowadays. What's that mean? I'm sure Korea I mean, maybe there's an Awakening Ranger in Korea that's got like... I mean, like, we used to meme about it, but like the guy called SS Jang was a Korean Ranger and was really bad. But he had like a following of people that didn't really know any better. I mean, like, when I say bad, like, I'm bad, but like... Wow, you know what I mean? Like that level of bad, you know. And I always worry that, like, oh my god, what if Pearl Abyss is listening to what this guy has to say? Because I read one of his opinions once about like Ranger, and I was like, what the fuck? Feeling good since my class doesn't get touched in years. I thought you played Ranger. What do you play, Kantara? Oh my god, I like frame drop there. Oh, you're playing Lawn. Meta uncapped is going into evasion hybrid. I just think old gearing was better. Like evasion hybrid or not, like I just think like gearing was better. I think it's just so stale and it's so lifeless with like the gear that we have. I mean that sounds dramatic, but I just like I hate. I mean I don't mind the effort to make gear swapping easier if there was open world PvP in mind for it, but I feel like Karazad accessories are hella boring, man. I don't mind the sovereign weapons so much, and at least the sovereign weapons have like the reforged stones. Even though it's a shame that you can't like set like a PvP version and a PvE version of your sovereign weapon, like for reforged stones. I don't mind those as much. But god, Karazad sucks. I mean, Deboreka sucked too, don't get me wrong. Deboreka was dumb as hell as well. Like, that should have never been in the game. But Karazad is just making a problem that existed worse, in my opinion. Sovereign should have had set effects. I mean, I just think there's way cooler stuff they could do with gear, man. I mean, BDO gearing has always been kind of wonky compared to other games that have way more items and way more interests. You know, or on-set effect trinkets and crazy shit like that. We've never had cool stuff like that. It's just, and that's, I mean, look, it is what it is, right? BDO gearing has been what it is for, and I played the game for 9 years. You know, if that was going to be a deal breaker for me, but I just feel like made it worse. You know, and I hate the conformity of it. You know, I know that people always look to find their Abyss, but hasn't Pearl Abyss's like whole thing been about, oh, you don't get damage numbers because we don't want you to pick Abyss set of gear, and like they literally give us the same gear and now we still don't have damage numbers. I mean, what I will say, like I said, sovereign weapons don't bother me so much because I think, like, again, the reforged sets are nice. I think that's a good idea. Like, on the right track, good idea. I think they could have taken it further, but, that, you know, in general, I support it. I like that at least with the weapons, you get, like, a sense of interesting cosmetic upgrade because you get, like, more than just Black Star, which was Tet and Pen. With the glow, you get like a really intense glow when you're at Oct. You get like a nicer glow at Pen than before when it's a static. You know, they maybe could have done that a little bit more, but like, I'm fine with it as it is. But man, are Karazad accessories so boring. I just think they could have done cool stuff with it. With the gearing, and I just think they never really did, and what they did have they made worse, you know. I mean, since we moved from green gear in 2016 to start looking at boss gear, you know, if you were lucky you got one piece of boss gear in 2016, maybe two, but you know, we had a lot of gear and then it became one set of gear. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think the annoying thing when you're looking at Pearl Abyss objectively is that they make decisions that aren't just like the wrong thing, like nobody asked for this, why are you doing this? But you can't even be angry about like, oh, they're just not putting effort into the game. They put all the effort in to the wrong things. Like, they'll develop shit, so they'll do stuff, but it's like, why? Why do we need Papu versus Creo? Why would you develop the Magnus the way you did as a massive quest line? Admit that took you a year and a half to create. For it to be basically, they could have just created the wells that teleport you around and given us rewards. Because that's all it is. It's rewards and like. Because like the unified storage is great, but it doesn't need the Magnus quest lines to exist. You just give that away, right? Like, you know, the same with the teleportation, right? So the Magnus took them a year and a half by their own admission at the Calpheon Bowl that they released, or Heidel Bowl, whichever one. By their own admission, it took them a year and a half to develop. And it's a quest line that takes about 4 hours that you do once, you never want to do again because it was horrific. You know? So, like, I guess that's what's annoying. I'd almost rather that they're lazy but do the right things, but it takes them ages, than, like, put a lot of effort into shit like a Node War rework, because that would not have been quick, right? The Node War rework that nobody asked for and everybody hated that they're having to now backpedal from. Nobody asked for that. Well, maybe the Koreans did. I don't know. You know, that would not have been a small bit of work to totally revamp how our Node Wars work. So I think that's what's, like, so frustrating. Is it's like, why would you do that? Nobody asked for that. Southeast Asia plays new Node Wars over old. Do they actually? Is that because new Node Wars they didn't even reintroduce correctly, or because they're, like, cooked in the brain? Like, why would they want to play the... I mean, it's a smaller server, so I guess it really doesn't matter that much. And maybe that's actually why. Maybe because it's a small server. I mean, the PvP changes that were so bad and negative have affected EU a lot. And it's the biggest server. Like, EU is the biggest server, so I can't imagine what the, like, pool of players must be like on other servers. I mean, I'd be interested to speak to Southeast Asian players that are enjoying those Node Wars. I mean, I think our players are just frustrated that they allowed the construction system back in, and maybe this is maybe why they don't choose to play it, but they capped it to an hour instead of 2 hours like it used to be, so you don't really have time to break a stalemated fight, you know? Or at least have fun in a stalemated fight, because, you know, a stalemated fight, you know, someone makes a mistake, then it does start to swing, or, like, you know, whatever. Or if it's just, you know, if it is stalemated, then that's good. That's a balanced fight that everybody's having fun in terms of no one's getting farmed, right? Because if someone's getting farmed, then you're definitely going to have a winner. But yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. It's the first I've heard of Southeast Asian players. Also think, like, Node Wars aside, I mean, it should only really be a week to 2 weeks at most a break between an Arena of Solar season as well. Like, I don't think there's any reason that Arena of Solar should basically go MIA, because we probably won't see Solar now for, like, I don't know, another 8 months. Yeah. I mean, I have to admit, Solar can be super frustrating, right? Especially when you don't play a meta class. It is frustrating. But it's still the most fun, and actually the most I play BDO these days is when Solar is up. Whereas otherwise I log in and I'm just like, huh, what do I do? What do I feel like doing, you know? I mean, admittedly, these Ranger changes now have just, like, it's not good how I feel. I think if they made the class, I mean, it wouldn't have solved the fundamental issues. But definitely I think if the class found significant improvement, I'd be like, you know, it'd cover up the damp for a little bit, you know? Just roll another class. Yeah, but I don't want to. Like, why would I put that effort into get to a point where I feel comfortable enough to fight on any other class that I may not enjoy actually playing as much just because it's more OP? Yeah, they took the stamina regeneration away. I mean, actually, to be honest with you now, because, like, I'm really not getting along with this rushing wind change, that's probably the closest I actually feel now that, like, well, it doesn't feel as fun to play anymore. Which I hate having to say. Yeah, just have to S block to get your stamina back. It's literally... I mean, to be fair, we could never really rely on Breezy Blade a lot, but at least it was something that would delay the time that it would take before we'd actually have to S block. Like, it would just slow down the need for it. But yeah, the Russian wind changes. Just, wow. Weird. Why do I have an archaeologist map? I really should read events, but what is that then? Like an event item that's a fake archaeologist map, or what is it? Because I have a real one. It's like an April Fool's event. I'm not even going to stream on April 1st. I fucking hate April Fools. I know that sounds like depressing, because I actually love holidays. Like, I'm big into, like, Christmas, Halloween, you know, give me all that shit. Even Easter, like, April Fools I think is hella cringe. And it's not real holiday, I guess, but, like, I just hate having a full day where, like, everybody's, like, memeing, and it's just, like, it just gets tiresome. Maybe that sounds really depressing. But normally I do like holidays. You know, I'm a festive person. I like celebrating. But April Fool's is cringe. That's my hot take. There you go. That's my hot take. I apologize to anybody that likes April Fool's. I'm sorry that I ruined your holiday. Quote unquote. In less depressing news, Pokemon ZA looks pretty cool. So 100% we're streaming that whenever it gets released. Well, that reminds me, I have to grab a shiny Starmie from somewhere. If it's true that there'll be a Mega Starmie in Pokemon Legends ZA. What class would you... Are we talking about BDO? Oh, if I rerolled, I don't know. I keep meaning to play Awakening Megu because, like, I just love the effects. And I do think it plays really nicely. Maybe I'm just upset that nobody wanted to talk to me about Pokemon Legends ZA, but that's okay. What class would I play? I mean, yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't like how popular Awakening Megu got, and like the fact that like it's pretty strong. You know, it's a pretty fucking meta class, which annoys me because actually I really like the way it plays, and I just want a mediocre class so that like I can enjoy the class without someone saying, you're playing an OP class, like, you know. Yeah, but I'm not playing it because it's OP. You know what I mean? Like, I do like it. I just think it... do you know what disappoints me about Awakening Megu? Is specifically the fact that, like, I think the skill effects look best when they're pink, but you're not playing the class right if the skill effects are pink. They need to be purple. It's a brain-dead class. I mean... Yeah, so is any, like... Yeah, I don't really have a point. I don't really know what you're getting at there. I mean, I thought Awakening Guardian was fun to play. Brain dead as fuck as well. Sometimes it's fun just to feel like... I think Awakening Guardian was a really good class design-wise in terms of the sensation of having, like skills that felt like they were hard-hitting. You know what I mean? Like... Is it buffed now? I mean, I don't want to play it in PvP. I'm just saying that, like... I played it when it released, because it was easier to lead a node war and shot call a node war on Awakening Guardian than it was an Awakening or Succession Ranger. Or I think there was no Succession Ranger at the time. So I played Awakening Guardian when it came out, and actually it did feel pretty fun at the time. Like, the skill, and they still do feel this way, I think, but, like, you know, the skills really, you feel the impact. I don't know how to describe it. Like, yeah, it's slow, but that kind of, like, weighs into how the class is. Like, you feel the impact of the skills, which is cool. I don't know who Pawn is, so. The rule GM, okay. Yeah, I mean, wait, he went Succession because Awakening was stupid? They're both stupid. Weird champ feels weird, man. Okay, anyway, so, what were we saying? I mean, aside from that, like, obviously, I've always had a soft spot for Awakening Wusa as well, which I've also shot called on. I do like Awakening Wusa. It's so cool, and, like, the spells are so good looking, I think, as well. I mean, maybe the pattern here is that I really... Well, I was going to say the pattern is that I really like skills with nice skill effects, but Awakening Ranger, I think, has bad skill effects. Even though some people do say, oh, that looks nice when I play it. Maybe that's why I like classes with really nice skill effects, is because Awakening Ranger just feels really meh to me. I love the way Awakening Ranger plays, obviously. But well, maybe not anymore. But I thought the effects are mid. I'm not even mid, to be honest. I just think they're bad. Yeah, I mean, Awakening DK, yeah, of course. I've always loved Awakening DK. Since it ever got released, I just think, wow. And Awakening DK was one of the earliest new classes we ever got. Like, a class that didn't come from Korea. Like, we knew, like, for example, Wizard and Witch... We did have on launch, I think, but we didn't have Musa, Mewa, Ninja, and Kuno, but we knew that those classes were being added. Awakening DK was the first class that was added, or DK was the first class that was added that was totally new. Like, we didn't know it was coming because it was already out in Korea. And I remember, actually, my friend that I got into BDO from Tanks was a Steam player, and he joined BDO with the Steam release, like a lot of people did. Like Choice did, actually. And I recommended Awakening DK to him because it was brand new, and I knew it was going to be really good. Anyway. I digress. Awakening DK has always just been a favorite of mine, effects-wise. Is it cracked? How do I answer this question, really? It's stronger in the single target arena than it was, for the most part. I mean, there were nerfs, but overall, I think it comes out better than it was, but for all the wrong reasons. I don't know really how to describe it. You like Awakening Hash? I mean, Hash is insane. You know, when you look at modern mobility as well, Hash, you know, you got everything you really need in both Hash specs. And Awakening, obviously, you get the range grab, and look, if you have one, you're feeling really good. I mean, they shouldn't exist as far as I'm concerned. A ranged grab is a joke. But if you got one, you know, you're pretty fucking happy about it. Oh, really? Wait, they buffed its PvP? Oh my god. It's funny you should say, Lon. When people ask me about, like, classes, one thing I'll always bring up is that my favorite Awakening weapon in all of BDO, so no matter which class, including Awakening Ranger, which obviously doesn't have too exciting weapon, my favorite Awakening weapon by far is Awakening Lon. Those twin glaives are really, 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 really cool. And what I would say about Lon is that I actually like its skill effects as well. I think they're pretty cool. And, you know, you can't lie. The movement is really sick. You know, that movement is cool. So, yeah, Awakening Lon's definitely something that would be on, like, the consideration options. Just because I do think it's really cool. You like the Scythe? Understandable. I think the Scythe is a really cool weapon, too. Not my favorite, but, like, I respect it. Yeah, maybe you have less control. But, wow. I mean, buffing Hash is crazy because the specs do really well in PvP, but, you know, that's PA for you, I guess. What are the top 5 PA? Oh, God, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't even know before these buffs. I definitely don't know now. I used to know things like this, but you know, times move on, and my level of interest in keeping up with the PvP and PvE state of every class is not what it once was. Oh, casual. Well, I mean, your gear is probably still far above casual. My gear has fallen really far behind. We had a lot of Pendebos and things, though, didn't you? So I don't know what you did with Sovereign, but yeah. So I mean, you got like full Novs. So I mean, only really your Sovereign weapon then is bad. Oh, that gear screenshot isn't accurate. I have a little bit better than what that gear screenshot shows. That shows you a lot, actually. I haven't even updated the gear screenshot, and I've had gains on that for like months. I mean, my dilemma really is what to do BDO-wise with no Arena Solar to play, because I actually do enjoy playing it. Like, I rage play it, but like I do enjoy playing Solar. But with no Solar, and even if there was Solar now, you know, God, the class feels real awkward to play. I'm in a weird state, you know what I mean? Like, because I want to stream when I do have the time, which admittedly I have less time than I used to. But I log into BDO and I'm just fuck, man, you know. Because at least Solar did give me like a purpose. Like, I did want to play it. I think because I'm naturally competitive, a mode like that benefits that nature of mine. Or maybe it doesn't when you're like the competition playing field isn't even. If you look at the top 100 classes, but still, you know. But now I'm like, it is do hardcore. I don't want to do more PvE, man. Also, I watched a clip the other day where Choice was forced into like a duel to the death with some Sork that had a lot less points than him, and he was forced to kill the Sork. Otherwise, he would have lost loads of points, and he lost loads of points anyway because he had no choice but to kill the Sork. Incredible. Very good system PA. But yeah, I mean, I don't really want to play another PvE game mode that doesn't... Yeah. If you think Ranger is fun in Solar, you're a masochist. No, I mean, it's not fun. I mean, anybody that watched me play Solar knows it's not fun. Or watched any Ranger. Watched Vamps, the best Ranger we have, quit partway through because that shit wasn't fun. The class feels fucking horrendous. But Solar is still like a PvP game mode, and that's how desperate I am for like an arena style game. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, like being able to play with the homies in like a set team every round and not rely on randoms would actually be really cool to rank as a team. That would be cool even if the class is not feeling as good. I like to watch Rylock. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know how Succession Ranger... Oops. I don't know how Succession Ranger did. I think Hazy did okay on EU. I don't know how he did. I mean, I was like looking forward to hardcore, but like, holy shit. If you think Awakening Ranger is fun in Solar, I mean, I had pretty low elo and I thought it was terrible, and the highest elo player quit halfway through because it was that bad. So I don't... I mean, you're obviously anybody's welcome to a different opinion. I could totally get it. But being so limited invariably feels very frustrating when you get stomped by meta classes. You have to work so hard for things that they just roll their faces on the keyboard and achieve. You an EU Poogie? Oh, NA. Could I ask what your what you ended up what level you ended up playing at? It doesn't devalue your opinion whether you got like 3,000 or you got 300. I'm just genuinely curious, like for a data point, if that makes sense. Because for me, every season has felt less fun of Solare. As classes have continued to be power creeps, mobility-wise, and how much super armor damage they're allowed to have, and, you know. When you're a class that relies on forward guards that keep you in one position, so you can never do your damage because classes gap close you from halfway across the map instantly, you know, it can feel inevitably more frustrating when you watch other classes blow people up despite having teammates trying to stop that from happening. Highest was 2020. Well, what did you end up as, basically? Suck hash is better than... Oh, I don't know. 1920. Interesting. I wonder what score was Vamps when he quit. That was quite early in the season. I think he was 2,400. Something like that, right? I mean, to be fair, Vamps had like the top 3 spots at one point on EU, the top 2 spots on NA. I don't know if he ended up with that because he quit halfway through. Both servers. Vamps is an EU ranger, but ranked on both servers. Yeah, he would have decayed a lot, that's true. I mean, that is the best ranger by far that's left in the game, you know. Flannels quit quite a while ago. Swift and Yamati haven't played for a long time. Yeah. I mean, it basically just echoes the same points. I mean, to be honest with you, after a certain point, you understand what the issues are, you know, and some people are just able to do a bit more of it, you know. It's like everybody can appreciate... I don't know if you guys ever watched Top Gear, because obviously it's a mostly UK show. But if you did, like, they used to have, like, you know, the little shitty car they do a lap in. And you'd have, like, celebrities do the laps in the car, right? It's pretty world famous, not so much in the US, Pero, you'd be surprised. Anyway, so they do laps in the shitty little car, right? And all the celebrities would do a lap, and then they put their lap times on the board. Then they'd get like professional drivers, like Formula 1 drivers, in as celebrities, and their laps were like way better, but it's still not going to outperform, you know, a supercar. so that's my point, I guess, on that is that, like, you can still appreciate the car is like dog at different levels, but like obviously someone who's, you know, wants to get more out of it. It's just like an average player would get way more out of playing Awakening Megu, you know, playing like a Zerker or Awakening Nova, or whatever, you know, Hash, Musa even, fuck's sake. Musa's such a joke as like a Solare class. Tommy's my first high-ranking Solare class. My friend that isn't Awakening a Ranger main saying Awoke Ranger is pretty broken, expect nerfs. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. They'll leave us with the worst parts about what they've changed, and it's bad. But they'll, like, They did this last time. And in fact, every time. Like, if you're new to Ranger and you're like, oh, wow, I actually like like, you're a PvE Ranger, I'll say, because PvP Ranger is not going to be too happy. If you're a PvE Ranger, which, to be fair, is most people playing this game these days, if you're a PvE Ranger, this will probably... What will happen is what happens every time with Awakening Ranger. They will nerf what they've done that's good, and they will keep all the, like, shit that they paired with it, you know? So this terrible rushing wind change will stay. The change to disillusion will stay. And what they'll do is they'll nerf the damage that they've improved. And maybe even revert the cooldown change to tremble. So expect that exact thing to happen, because every time that has happened. I remember, like, early on in Arena Solare season, I can't remember which season it was, we got, like, some nice buffs. Like, PvP buffs. And the following week, they'd already nerfed them. The class actually felt, like, pretty reasonable to play. They took damage away, left a few of the, like, the nerf changes they left. Yeah, I mean, like, if you're a PvE player, like, right now it feels okay, but I'm just warning you that it will get nerfs. Well, they buffed the damage on a few different skills with a nerf to Waltz of Winds damage overall. And then they lowered the cooldown of Nature's Tremble, which is one of the, like, the remaining skills in BDO that still has a mega cooldown. So now it's more modern cooldown-wise. In exchange, like I said, they nerfed Waltz of Wind. They reworked how Rushing Wind works, so it's worse. They took -10 DR away from our DR shred. It'll be strong in PvE, but they will probably nerf it very soon. And the bad stuff that they've done for PvP, especially, will stay. I played this class a long time, and that's always how it goes. I mean, I don't know what kind of, like, lobbying other classes do to get, like, buffs that they just keep permanently, but I genuinely, I'm not being dramatic, I never remember a time when Ranger got a buff that she just got to keep. Like, overall buffs that didn't then get nerfed in the global lab later. So we'll see. I mean, I could be wrong, but the next two global labs, I think especially, will be critical for Awakening Ranger. If she doesn't get hit with a nerf tomorrow or next Friday, maybe they break the pattern and she'll keep the PvE buffs. But the sad part is it's a lose-lose situation if you're a PvP player, you know, in the class. Because everything we needed for PvP, they haven't done. Everything we definitely didn't need, they did do. So yeah, anyway. It's a lose-lose for Awakening Ranger PvP players, but like I said, I'm at the point with, like, I don't be, like, too deflating, but I might have a break from the game. And just keep an eye on updates and see. I don't want to, like, I would never, like, hard quit, because I don't really see why I think it's kind of dramatic to just hard quit a game, but I might just take a break from it because I want to play video games and just really enjoy them. And, you know, there's no Solare to play, although, again, the rushing wind change would make that feel real awkward. And I don't want to log into grind for no reason I don't want to grind for grinding's sake, because I don't like grinding. I like grinding when it meant something in PvP. And they took all that PvP away. I don't see it returning anytime soon. So, I mean, if we got some like Solare update, you know, I think it hasn't helped that like, you know, they talked about this hardcore PvP game mode, and it turned out to be a PvE game mode. That really didn't help my like attitude, I think. And I mentioned earlier, I'm frustrated. Like the gearing isn't even interesting. Like I think Karazhan is so boring. That definitely hasn't helped either. I mean, the rework that Awakening Ranger needs, since they refuse to nerf other classes and bring the power creep back into line, is it just needs some mobility. You just can't play a modern class and be this slow and have this many stamina problems while being this slow. That's just, it just doesn't, like, it just, it's difficult to compete with that. Dagger protection buff incoming. Yeah. I mean, like I said it earlier, but this rushing wind change would have been okay if they actually made it into a true mobility skill. Like, oh, here's some modern mobility. Go have fun. What is Archaeologist map? It's an event item, apparently. They're doing it for April Fools again, like they did before. Yeah, I do think... Yeah, unfortunately, like, Solare just seems to go on massive hiatuses. And it's the only thing, like... It's not great, because there are problems, especially with the class-to-class stuff. And it would be probably better if you could at least play with the homies in a ranked setting, rather than just practice. But, it's still... I still want to play an arena game, you know? Like, I mean, I never used to mind open-world PvE too much, because it was paired with open-world PvP, but, you know... With the changes to Node War or GVGs and things like that, you know, that kind of organic fighting in the open world that wasn't forced. When is it going to disappear? I haven't looked at it, to be honest. I don't know. I really got far. I looked at the chat for like half a second there, and I feel like I don't know how I got so far away from that mob. I wish Willowed Wind did damage. That would be a real throwback to PvE of bygone era. Well, I feel like I would be one of... Ooh. That was laggy. I feel like I'd be one of those people. I really like Solare when it's at its best. I mean, part of it maybe is my fault. Maybe if I did just do what a lot of people do, which is what is the strongest class at the moment, or one of the strongest classes at the moment, and just play that. They probably do have a lot more fun with it, but I want to play my class because I love playing my class. That being said, this rushing wind change. Whew. What were your add-ons? Oops. That's... Can you see that with chat? Hang on. That's add-ons that I had. I haven't really even thought about add-ons. With the changes, you can do Tempest now, but I really don't see the point of running Tempest. It's still locked behind Wailing with a long cooldown. You play Mansion. Unironically, if there was more stuff going on with the Mansions, like, okay, they added a couple more bits of furniture, which, great. I mean, they should add way more bits of furniture, man. It seriously is, like, fun content, I think. 1.56 in trash. Like, I enjoy going out and getting random bits. I mean, it's kind of like a nice little side quest thing, but you know. So what is this? This is a meme, I guess. You give it to Terran Underfoe, and this is a meme as well. Oh, so it does actually work. Interesting. Oh, I clicked way too many buttons there. Oh, no, I meant to put it in the actual central market. My bad. Yeah. Your guilty... Yeah, I mean, why are there not more mansions? Yeah, I mean, we're probably going to go back to doing the dungeon. I started doing one of them